Hey everybody, welcome to the latest episode of The Rock Experience with Mike Brunn. On this episode, Vincent LaRusso and I are going to talk all about the newest interview Gene Simmons gave where he said he invited Peter Criss and Ace Frehley to join KISS on stage for their final shows at Madison Square Garden. We'll give our thoughts and our opinions on if we think Peter and Ace should join the band, as well as if it changes our opinion of attending those last shows. Lots to talk about in this episode. A lot of fun always having Vincent on. So let's jump in and let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome to the latest episode of The Rock Experience with Mike Brunn. Today I have with me somebody who may look a little bit like a stranger to you these days. My buddy, my comrade. How you doing, Mr. Vincent LaRusso?
I'm doing well. I just want to say one thing.
What's that? Oh, look at you with the guitar. Is this a new guitar?
Keep on rocking in the free world.
Okay.
It's my goal in life
Yes.
to get an endorsement, a guitar endorsement, and none would make me prouder if I got a Leo James. Leo James. By the way, let me just say one thing. This is a plug. By the way, do you like this?
I do like that. Yes, the first I didn't know
Pretty
you
cool.
had this new guitar. Very nice.
Yeah,
and appropriate as the 4th of July approaches here in America. Very
you see
appropriate.
that? Yes. Anyways, so the wonderful thing about music, and this is going to be a quick plug, this beautiful guitar. It's actually I got this on Amazon, and I watch a lot of YouTube videos. And this guitar was literally $119. Okay,
Wow.
This Leo James. Now it's a low budget, meaning a beginner's guitar. But I got to say, quite honestly, for $119, I know my guitar purist friends are going to be probably vomiting all over.
That's what I'm thinking. But you might have to take out 12 of the guitars behind you to.
But let me just say one thing.
Yeah.
And this is just an this is I know we just started the show, but this is just educational part of the show. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You get a guitar like this for $119. You upgrade your tuners. You put locking tuners on it for maybe $30. You can get them. You put two nice new pickups, the DiMarzio Seymour Duncans, and then the guitar becomes a beast. So your $119 investment, you put in maybe $250, and you have a wonderful sounding guitar. And that's
Nice.
what I say. Anybody wants any advice on how to upgrade the guitars, you can email me at Mike Brunn. No, I was just kidding.
Because I'd be a lot of help to them.
Yeah, no, but I guess what I really wanted to say, and this was not a planned part of the show. You're probably saying, I took over the show.
I was like, I had no idea you were going to do this, but that's okay. This is why you're a stranger these days to the show.
Yeah, so I wanted to promote. Promote music, as we always try to do.
Yeah.
We're always talking about music. But also, I just wanted to say for parents who are watching these videos and you feel like you got to spend a lot of money on a guitar for your son, a Fender, and the Fenders are great, Gibsons are great. There's so many great brands out there. Fender's got their under brand, which is Squire. Gibson's got Epiphone. There are so many good guitars you could get for under $300 now. I mean, there are so many good guitars you can get. And something like this is a great starter guitar. And sometimes you get something that's better than not because they're a little inconsistent. And if you have somebody who knows how to set them up like I do, or a professional, it'll make them even better. But it's just to say that you don't have to spend an arm and a leg on a quality instrument anymore. So, and the other thing is, I am a Dexter. and I actually have my own picks. Okay, anyways,
Very nice.
That was the ego part of my show. All right,
okay.
Now you may now have your show back.
Okay, well, that's a little bit why we haven't been able to connect. And I know you've been very busy. You started that Dexter's bands amongst the many other bands that you've been a part of. And it's actually, we're recording this on a Friday evening. I'm actually shocked that you don't have a gig tonight. It's what, your first one on a Friday, probably, I'm going to guess in weeks, if not months, that you don't have a gig on Friday night.
Yeah, I wouldn't say months, but maybe some weeks. Yeah, I mean, typically Saturday is always the busy day, but I do a lot of Friday, Saturdays,
Yep.
and but I do have a gig tomorrow, first time in Atlantic City at the Tropicana Hotel. A little, plug there too,
There you go.
which
Of
is
course,
kind
you're
of
plugging
exciting.
that by the time this comes out, that show will be in the
Yeah.
past. Sorry.
You
but
can still,
everybody can show up at the Tropicana and look for you, right?
but you know what? The good thing is the hotel will still be opening for gambling, and no matter if I'm there or not.
That is true.
You don't need the band for that.
Because if you like to gamble.
If you like to gamble, yeah. Maybe not roast my voice, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, I texted you a couple of days ago, I guess, saying, hey, we haven't done an episode together. Let's do one. It's been a while. And I said, I think there's a good topic that we could chat a little bit about. And, I sent you, I think just a screenshot. I don't even know if I sent you the article where, Gene was interviewed about the end of the road tour, which has only got like 35 more dates left. And then it's supposed to be the end, And somebody, of course, was asking him about, if Ace and Peter were invited to the final shows in New York. And Gene said he's invited them multiple times, but they've both declined. So I texted that to you. I said, we got to get on, chat about this a little bit. And, we both have tickets to that final show. And I was like, I wonder for you, especially, let's just say, having bought those tickets, was there a hope on your side that Ace, Peter, maybe Bruce, somebody, would be there? And seeing that story, did that did give you a little bit or did you kind of expect that? Or what were your thoughts when you saw that story?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it, quite honestly, at this point. I just think that, I mean, not that it can't be done, but KISS would have to deviate from their typical show that everything is so orchestrated with lights and this and that. You bring somebody onto the stage, you kind of have to disconnect that. And it's not that it can't be done. And quite honestly, it should be done for this one last show. However, knowing that the number one thing you hear, and I'm going to say it, you be Ace Frehley at this point. I'm going to say, hey, Ace, would you be interested in doing, one of the last shows with KISS?
And Ace is going to say, yeah, you got to pay me $250,000 a show.
Right, or right. If the money's right, I'll
right.
do it. Right?
Exactly.
So it comes down to
how do you like my Ace impersonation, by the way?
You sounded like the frog in Courageous Cat or whatever.
But Courageous, he's getting away.
Yeah. Or the frog, or the guy with the cigar.
Frog saying.
Yeah, but that's good. Frog Frehley.
Frog Frehley. That's great. Frog Frehley. Anyway, continue what you were saying, Frog Frehley.
Yeah, so the Peter and Ace are not, it's not going to be charity at this point. There's I think there's just too much bruising going on. If things over the years, in my opinion, were really good between these guys, and there wasn't this animosity, this continue on and off animosity. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that Ace was, Paul made a comment, Ace goes all, I mean, and it's still like, I always feel like it's the wound closes, it opens, the wound closes, it opens, right?
Yep.
I think, under different circumstances, different band, you might have guys who would just show up that last night and not worry about the money,
right?
Because what they're seeing and what they're understanding is, if you always say, I want to do this for the fans, it's not just a Gene thing,
right?
But let's face facts. You know what I mean? It's really, we as fans not only have supported the KISS product, but have supported the Ace Frehley product or the Peter Criss product, whatever.
Yep.
I mean, I know it's been few and far between Peter, but we've supported that. Do they owe us anything? I'm not saying they owe us anything.
I don't think they owe us anything.
Right,
personally.
Right. But I think it would be a nice thing for, and like I said, under different circumstance,
right,
where it is not, well, I'm pissed off that this band has made so much money. I don't make all that money, and they've cut me out of this, and we used to have the makeup, whatever it is. So now you got that bitter taste always in your mouth.
Yep.
It's a different thing. So unfortunately, I think we have to come to terms that it's not going to happen. And
let's be honest, if they were there, Gene and Paul are going to market not necessarily, it doesn't matter about marketing the shows because they're sold out really for all intents and purposes, but they're going to put out a DVD or a CD or whatever the formats are these days, right? And they're going to try to milk that for all the money they can. Why shouldn't Ace and Peter get a slice of that, right? I don't expect them to just show up and
No,
do charity, So
well,
in fairness to them, they should want to be paid for it, in my opinion.
but the thing is that Gene says they were invited. With what parameters? Were there anything?
Right.
Oh, hey, Ace, we'd like you to come. Oh, was there any was anything negotiated? It's kind of a little bit like if nothing was, it's kind of like say, well, it's like they cover their own ass. Well, we asked them to go, they said no.
That's exactly what it feels like.
And I don't know that. I don't know if that's for fact. So
no, but when I interviewed Doc, I kind of asked him like, has there been a financial offer? And he never was like, oh yeah, we've offered them good money. He kind of skirted around that part of it. So I don't doubt that they really did invite Ace and Peter, because if they didn't, Ace would be on Eddie Trunk already saying, I never got invited. They're lying, blah, 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 blah. So I believe that the invite really did go, but I'm sure it was not any kind of pay, certainly not any kind of pay that would make it worthwhile for Ace and Peter to come out and do it. I'm sure probably Paul and Gene are just thinking they should do it because they want to, for the fans. Well, you know what? If that's the way Paul and Gene feel, they should have played the last show for free for the fans. Nobody's working for free. And I'm not suggesting that Paul and Gene should do that, but nobody should ever expect anybody to work for free. And I'll tell you, when I bought a ticket, I never thought, gee, I'm buying this ticket because I think Ace and Peter are going to be there. I bought a ticket because for me, it's going to be my last KISS show in an arena, and probably my last KISS show ever. And when the show starts and they're doing Detroit Rock City and they're coming down on the pods, in my mind's going to be, this is the last time I'm ever going to see this song being performed live, and I'm going to go through that when they go through each and every song, and I'll just be in that moment when the confetti's coming down. And with no disrespect to Ace and Peter, if they're not there, it's not going to change my enjoyment of the evening, not one bit. I know for others, it's a showstopper that they're not there. For me, it's not going to change my enjoyment of the night at all. Saying that, look, it would be freaking amazing if they were able to get together, work out whatever they need to. And then encore was, let's just say, Deuce, the original four members, Deuce, Strutter, Firehouse, Cold Gin. 4 songs from the original demo from the first album. Yes, I even said Boring Gin. But going out, the 4 of them, the way they came in on that original demo, songs from the first album, that would be absolutely amazing. And don't mistake in anything I'm saying. I would be friggin' ecstatic. I'd be like pushing you over the rail, and I'd be so excited. Oh my God. But it's not necessary for me to have a great time that night. It would be the icing on the cake. It would be really perfect to me, but I'm not going to be losing sleep if they don't do it. That's for sure.
Yeah. And the whole other thing that I think is horseshit is what are you going to have two aces up there and two? I mean,
I don't really care.
Ace doesn't have to come out with the makeup, and neither does Peter. Just have them come out, and what the hell?
Exactly.
So that's that. But on the other hand, I know Ace is going to say, I don't want to go on the stage with Tommy wearing my makeup.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. And look, I don't even care at this point. Look, I'm too old to worry about that kind of nonsense. They could have 2 friggin' spacemen on stage for a few songs. I don't care. We all know that there was multiple people that wore that makeup. Who cares? It's friggin' makeup,
Yeah.
20 years ago, that stuff bothered me. Now I'm like, I'm too old to worry about that kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
No makeup. I really don't care at all. It would be awesome if the 4 of them got up on stage and performed, like I said, some songs from that first album together. That to me would be amazing. But if it's not, oh well, I'm still gonna have a great time that night, And Gene said something along the lines of, I'll paraphrase, the only ones that really want Ace and Peter there are the older fans, because they grew up with Ace and Peter. And what he wasn't saying in a derogatory way, although some people took it derogatory. I don't think it was meant derogatory. But he's saying the newer fans kind of are indifferent. And again, I don't think he was saying that to slag, Ace and Peter. I think it was just a matter of, and it's probably true. Like I should have asked my daughter what she thought, but for my daughter, the lineup she's known basically her entire life is Tommy and Eric. And she knows who Ace is, and she's come with me to see Ace play a few times. She knows who Peter Criss is. She appreciates what they did on those first albums, but for her, it's this lineup for 20 years. And you know what? A lot of the younger people That is right or wrong. That's the lineup that they know. And, even somebody like my daughter understands and appreciates that those are not the original members, but she doesn't feel. I remember on the cruise when Ace Frehley played with them, she's like, that was weird. I felt like I was seeing two different bands playing together at the same time. She's like, I'm used to seeing Ace solo and then Kiss. She goes, now like they were playing together. It was like two separate bands. I was like, that's a very interesting point of view. So what do you think about the older fans only care? Do you think that Gene's on target with that?
I think so. I think that's I mean, that's a true statement. But my feeling is this: you had a lot of time to prepare for this. Even with the pandemic, you had even more time, right?
Sure.
There were ways about doing this, and I think that it could have been done, or you could have done something. And this is just an idea that just came to my head now. Even if you can't orchestrate the band, doing some change ups during the show because it's so, it's like, it's like a theater production at this point. Everything is time lighting.
Yep.
Why not have the original four guys come together that day? It's the last day, and do like an unplugged thing like you said, just get them together on the last day. Yep. Maybe, not on the stage for when we're going to see them, but just and then somehow get that recorded, broadcast. I don't know, do something just to get them together on that last day. I would even be happy with that, even if I wasn't there. I mean, I would love to witness it, but just know, I mean, wouldn't it warm your heart to know like the four original members get together, make bygones be bygones, hug, I'm sure it's an emotional thing. You started this thing with these other two guys, right?
Yep.
Get them in the room together, I mean, and you got endless amount of money to do that. Make them an offer to say, we're going to set up on 4 fucking stools, right? And we're going to get together and we're just going to fucking sing 4 classic hits, like you said. And that alone, and knowing that exists, and going out that way for all the shit that we have to listen to, and the crap and the arrows that get slung or whatever, I think that would be nice closure. Yeah. So it doesn't have to be on the grandest scale. Like, as much as I would love to see when we're, in the sky where we're going to be sitting in the, to hear them. And, I'm talking about, Peter Criss and Ace Frehley.
Members of the family here tonight. Right. Exactly.
Right. Much of that would be great. But just knowing that on that last day, that the original 4 guys still together, they should be, see, the thing is, not a lot of bands have the opportunity at this point at their age to get the original members again. They're very fortunate and very lucky that all 4 original members are alive. It always takes, unfortunately, when somebody passes, we should have done it. Oh, if I only had one more shot. Oh, you have the opportunity.
Yep.
Why not do it right? Unless Ace is just being, or Peter's just being, I don't want to do, and we don't know. And I'm not trying to blame Ace. I'm not trying to blame, because we don't know the facts.
In fact, we both sat here and said, look, if it's about money, Paul and Gene should just pay.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. In the grand scheme of life, when you know that, and I have nothing against Gene Simmons, but Gene Simmons is auctioning this, auctioning that, to get more income that he doesn't quite honestly need, but at least he's doing something because he's trying to give the fans these things that he knows that they'll appreciate. He's not going to do it for charity, although he could do it for charity, I guess, but you know what I mean? But I understand that you've made enough money that for one night you could say, I am going to give you my salary for the night. Right. I mean, think about that. Even if they said, all right, you know what? Gene and Paul are going to give Peter Criss, and I know it's a far-fetched, but I'm just saying.
No.
Are they going to be like, oh my God, I can't pay that Con Ed bill? Shit, the water bill just came. If I only would have played that last show, I could pay. Come on, you know what I'm saying?
When I heard Ace say, and I think it was $250,000 was his price for each of the shows, my first thought was, well, that's freaking ridiculous. He doesn't want to do it. He's putting out a price that's just, he knows nobody would ever accept. Right. But then when you think about what these guys are worth, and I don't begrudge them that at all, right? So for me and you to pay Ace $250,000, it's, taking all of our life savings plus, million or whatever, so, so that's, but like you said, Gene can give up his salary for one show, or Paul can give up his salary for one show and probably pay that. And I don't begrudge them what they're making, but if they want to do it for the fans, then money wouldn't stand in the way, Yeah. But to me, it's sad that it comes to that discussion that the 4 of them can't even just say, we want to do it because we want to do it. Not even necessarily for the fans, but because the 4 of us want to have that feeling one more time. I wish, that's what I wish more than anything. You know, even to your point, even if it was just behind closed doors and the four of them said, you know what, one more time for all time's sake, let's just get in the loft somewhere and let's just, you know, rehearse for a half hour together and just enjoy what we created. It doesn't have to be in front of fans. I wish that they were at that point of their life that they wanted to do that together, not for money, not for fans, but for themselves. I think that would make me happy, maybe even happier than being in the garden that night and seeing them come on stage because they were paid to do so. You know, I wish that they wanted to do it.
Imagine this scene, right? You know how it works, right? Yeah, you hear rock and roll, when rock and roll starts, and you know that's gonna be the last song, and then you're gonna have that infamous synthesizer. All right, right?
Yeah.
But imagine they do it different, right? Imagine this one night, and I don't even know again how you orchestrate this, but imagine like the curtain drops and the video screen shows the band pre-recorded a little earlier the night of them together, and it's just dialogue, no bombs, no nothing, and you're in this arena packed. You have no idea this was even happening, right? Can you imagine how the fans would react to see something like that if you're just thinking, and then after they show that, then the show kicks off?
Right.
I mean, they're ideas. I mean, this is just ideas I'm coming up with, and I'm not even in the organization. I'm not even saying that's the greatest idea.
Right.
But there's so many things I think they could have been creative with, perhaps, to make it what is going to make the night special, other than it's the last night.
Right.
Probably it's just going to be just like the show before. I don't think they're going to do anything different, right? So you have this last show. I just think, but maybe again, understand too. I hate to say it, but sometimes some of the guys in the band are a little bitter, and once they get a little taste in their mouth, they're not going to change. They're not going to give. They're going to be like, screw it, I don't care. He did this, they did that. I'm not doing it.
And that's why I say I wish the four of them just wanted to do it for themselves.
Yeah.
That to me, that's the part that would put a smile on my face, is if they wanted to do it for themselves.
Listen, it's no mystery. I think you could disagree or you could agree with me. If in 1996, if I have this right, that's when the reunion started, right?
Yep.
If in 1996, no matter what you say about Peter Criss and Ace Frehley, if they didn't rejoin KISS,
100%.
would KISS ever been re-elevated to the level that they got to, or now?
100% no. 100% no. No way.
So no matter how you feel about these two guys, yes, you guys led the band and kept it alive all these years. Yes, you had to deal with their fucking shenanigans. However, your fortune, or your fortune that you got even more so, they made more money than they ever did. You know what I mean? What they made in the 70s, or so you were financially well taken care of with a lot of hard work. Don't get me wrong. I'm not minimizing the work that this band, and I'm not minimizing the dealings and worried about this one's going to show up and this one, if he's going to be, but the bottom line is sometimes you have to just let bygones be bygones for a moment and just say, listen, okay.
And I'll say that to all four of them. I'll say it's all four
Absolutely.
of them.
Yes. I'm not pointing fingers to any one person.
I don't think either one of us are pro Paul Gene, pro Ace Peter. We're pro KISS. And just pro the lack of nonsense going on behind the scenes. Both, whenever we hear that nonsense, we're all like, oh God, stop it, on all fronts. I don't care if it's Paul calling KISS piss when Ace and Peter were like, stop it, that's childish, don't do it. And then Ace reacting, we're like, oh, stop it, Ace. We're just, we don't want to hear that nonsense, is really what the way we are always feeling.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think to me that shows that we both say, hey, Ace and Peter not being at that final show is not going to take away our enjoyment. But at the same time, we could sit here and think about different ways that we wish that they'd want to be involved with each other. Yeah. And that's to me, that's both. And we didn't know where we were standing, but to me, that's what both of us were like. We just, and the next 5-6 months, I hope it doesn't become any mudslinging back and forth like that. That's the last thing I want. Even if Ace and Peter decide they don't want to show up, or the offer's not good enough, I'm totally cool with that. Just let's all be civil is the way I hope it goes down the last few months. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I was listening to your podcast that you did with Geezer Butler. Nice job, by the way. And
thank you.
Good guest. Great guest. And you asked him the question, I'm paraphrasing here because my memory sucks, but you said something like, how did it feel when you toured with KISS to see their show and you had to, follow, right?
Yep.
The Kiss was open, and he goes, in a lot of ways they were like, he was like, I don't know if he used the word terrible, but he was like, he realized like, shit, you know what I mean?
Right.
I've never seen this before. Like
Yep.
what Kiss didn't exist until them. And he cited Alice Cooper, of course, with the
Yep.
theater, but the bombs and this, you know, understand like what I was having a conversation with my friend recently about this, like, what Kiss started, what they created, it's legendary, you could say what you want about the band musically and all that, but there's a reason why they stood the test of time to this point, and maybe hundreds of years. I don't know. We won't be around to know that or
Hmm.
to say we were right or wrong on that, but um it's really, really special what this band did. And it was all their ideas, and
Yes.
the magic of them coming together to do this and write these great songs, and I
Agreed.
think, the impact that they had on so many fans and musicians, successful and maybe not so much so, the influence that these guys had,
Yep. Yep.
to go out and to do it right is what I think we all wish for. However, I guess my point being is this, and my long-winded thing here is that no matter what they do, and this is my feeling, no matter what they do that night, I'm going to be happy I'm in the building. And
Agreed.
nothing will ever take away for the memories that we have and for the times they did play together. Whether you were 9 years old, seeing them on the Dynasty tour, I
Yep.
wasn't fortunate enough to have that. And for me, the first time on the reunion tour in '96, where I thought I lost my opportunity to see all four guys, and that first time, I saw all four on the stage was like incredible to me.
Yep.
It almost was like even better in a lot of ways because you think it's never going to happen, and then it happens. One thing, yeah, I would love to have been at that infamous Garden show in '77 where they, WPLJ pins that everyone got or
Yep.
whatever it was. That would have
Hmm.
been awesome when they sold out. How many nights was that they
I think
sold
it
out?
was 3 nights in
3 nights.
December of '77. I think it was.
Yeah, right. Excuse me. But nothing's ever going to take away the memory of the band. Excuse me. The records they put out, the songs, and the influence. So that it won't be. My point is, it won't be diminished at all that they're not there. I would love it to be there for them to be there, but it's not going to diminish my experience and my memory
And
of the
to
band.
me, you just hit a home run there. So to me, it's celebrating that night, December 2nd. I'll be celebrating my personal 40 years or whatever it is of memories. Like you said, whether it's seeing them at the Garden in '79 for the first time, whether it was you and I going to see them at the Ritz in '88 and waiting outside all day and the sweltering heat inside the place, and stuff like
Mm,
that. Whether it was seeing them in Lemoore in '92 and the Ritz in '92, whether it was, seeing the reunion tour 4 nights in a row at the Garden, the first farewell tour, and I was in Trenton in the 6th or 7th row, thinking that might be the last time I ever see Kiss. Whether it's the various Kiss cruises I've been on, whether it's my daughter and I writing a song with Gene Simmons. I mean, nothing can take away all of those memories. And I purposely listed it, if you noticed, all different things across all different eras of the band, right? Whether it was the non-makeup
mm-hmm.
years, the Bruce Kulick years, the new lineup, the original lineup, they all to me hold a special place. And that night, December 2nd, that's what I'm celebrating. Would it be cool if Ace and Peter were there? 1,000%. I would love it if they came out and did some of those songs, like I said, Deuce and Firehouse and that stuff. Love it, love it, love it. I'd be eating it up. I'd be on cloud nine.
Mm,
But if they don't do it, it's not going to change the way I feel about that night. And it absolutely doesn't change not one thing of the great memories that I have for the last 40 plus years. That to me is what I'm celebrating at the end of this year. And
mm-hmm.
good look, God knows we're still 6 months away and a lot could change in the next 6 months. And, somebody could decide they are going to attend or not attend or whatever. But if it stays the way it is, I bought a ticket expecting to see Paul, Gene, Tommy, and Eric. I know I'm going to see the four of them and I'm going to have the friggin' time of my life and celebrate what I've loved for 40 plus years.
And let me just say this one other thing. We didn't touch upon this. For those people who don't think this, Tommy and Eric have earned the right to be on that stage at this point on that last show. You could say, it should be just the last four guys. These guys have been touring with Kiss and playing and recorded albums for how many years now? You know the stats better than I
It's
do.
20 years. And and I'll say
Right.
this, I come from the point of view of when Tommy, especially when Tommy joined the band, I checked out. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I was against it. I remember they did a TV show, was it that '70s show? I wouldn't even watch it. I was like, how could they have Tommy on stage or whatever with the makeup? I was against it. And probably lasted about a year. And then for me, it was like, it's freaking makeup. Grow up, Mike. I don't really care. It's makeup. And, in some ways I could say they're paying tribute and honoring what Peter and Ace brought to the band because they're acknowledging that those makeup characters are so legendary that they can't be replaced,
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, for me, it was like, well, makeup or not was never the reason I loved the band. It might have been the first thing that I noticed about the band when I was 6 years old, but I stayed with the band for 40 years because I love the songs. I love the music,
Well, and that's a good point. I was just going to make it.
Yep.
It's not exactly the same, but it's similar. When you hear Kiss play and they're doing, say, any Kiss classic, a Love Gun or
Yep.
Strutter, and Tommy's doing the solo, you know it's not the original guy who's playing it, right?
Yep.
But the song, when you went and watched Van Halen be Van Hagar and Sammy was doing Ain't Talking About Love, whatever, okay, he's not David Lee Roth, but you would loved it because it was the song, right? It wasn't the original guy.
It was still Eddie, but it was still Eddie.
Right, right, exactly. But I guess the basis of what I'm saying, great music is great music. So even if it's not the original lead guitar player or the original singer, original bass player, the original drummer, singer's a little bit more harder to, you know what I mean? And that's why I said it's not really saying guitar player and singer. I was just talking about the song, you know what I mean? So
look, I remember when I saw
right, totally different from David Lee Roth. It's not even like, you know what I mean?
No, but I remember when I saw Kiss on the Hot in the Shade tour and they opened up with I Stole Your Love, one of my probably top 3 all-time favorite Kiss songs. And if somebody was to ask me my favorite Kiss lineup, I say the original, right? I don't even hesitate. The original lineup's my favorite lineup. But that night, 1990, probably it was the end of June. So it was 33 years ago this week. They opened up with I Stole Your Love. That night, that moment, I didn't care that Ace wasn't in the band and that Bruce was playing guitar. That friggin' song is amazing. I love it. I was going to say the curtain dropped. There was no curtain. They came out of the mouth of whatever that thing was on the stage. The Sphinx. Yes, the Sphinx. Thank you. And Leon Sphinx. And
Leon Sphinx, yeah.
Yes. And the riff started with I Stole Your Love, and I was in my glory. And it didn't matter that Peter and Ace weren't on stage that night. I love those songs. And that's why, to me, it's like, I could sit here and I can say the original lineup's my favorite lineup. I can sit here and say, I wish they, for themselves, wanted to be together and do those couple of songs at the end. But if they don't, it's still those same damn songs, and I'm going to love it. The 2 hours I'm there watching that night, I am going to love every single moment of it and go home with, I hate to quote this from Ace Frehley, but I'll go home with no regrets.
Yeah.
Now, one other thing Gene mentioned, and I'm curious to see what your thoughts about this. He did say that there are, I'll say, celebrity musicians that have been asking, hey, we'd love to join you on stage that last night for a song or whatever. So celebrity guests, I'll say. He didn't say who they were, but he just said, the people that have asked to join us, non-KISS members. What would be your thoughts? Like, let's just say if they were doing, I don't know, Strutter that night and Joe Perry came out. Does that make it exciting to you, or do you not really care?
I don't really want it, quite honestly.
That's the way I felt also.
I don't need Joe Perry or who's the guy with the Rage Against the Machine guy who inducted them? Like
Tom Morello.
Tom Morello or whomever. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I want KISS on the stage for the last show. I don't need guests. I don't need celebrity people. You know what I mean? I'm nothing to distract. I mean, as kind of cool as that would be in another show, I don't think it's necessary.
I 100% agree with you. And I was thinking of this also, and you and I were in the building for what I'm about to say. And I'm going to ask people who are watching and listening to put your personal feelings aside for a moment about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But there's something to be said.
You're not going to invite the E Street Band on, are you?
No, definitely not. We don't have enough days for that.
Yeah.
No, there's something to be said that potentially the last time that those original 4 members will ever share a stage together is the night they got inducted into a Hall of Fame. I know they didn't perform, but in some ways, I was thinking about it during the week. That's a nice little bookmark to the end of the chapter for the original lineup. They started as a band in clubs that couldn't attract more than 20 people. They end in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Again, put your feelings of the organization to the side. It's tough to top that in terms of a bookmark to the end of your career. If that's the last time the 4 of them share a stage, and we were in the building that night, and we both wish they performed, right? But kind of feel satisfied with that in a way.
You do?
Yeah, I do. I really do. Like, I feel satisfied. If that's the last time the four of them were on the stage together, getting that acknowledgement from the industry that hated Kiss for all those years, and getting that acknowledgement at the end that Kiss and all the Kiss fans were right. Like Tom Morello said that night, the Kiss fans were right, the critics were wrong. If that's the end of their bookmark, I feel okay with that. I think you disagree.
I think that's forced. That's forced induction. Quite honestly, I mean, I think they hadn't. No, I think even Paul has said, or somebody said they had no choice but to put them in. They didn't want them there,
They
And it's
didn't.
I understand it there. I have a really big problem with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, as a lot of people
I
do. I'm not.
told you to put your personal feelings of the whole
I
thing to the
can't,
side.
but I can't.
But
I
I'm just
understand.
talking about the acknowledgement itself. That's the last time the four of them together is getting the acknowledgement that says the critics were wrong. Even the place that hated them were wrong.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. It's just hard to get past it. It's just.
I know it
I know you
is.
say put it aside. I know you say put it aside. It's just very hard for me. There's too many bands that I feel at this point still have not been acknowledged, and that's a
Yes.
whole other episode. I'm not going to get into it. And
Although we did do an episode on that once with Mike Brunn and Mark Cicchini. We did an episode on the Hall of Fame and bands we thought should and shouldn't be in, and Mark and I still joke about it all years later. I still don't think Ted Nugent belongs in the Hall of Fame, just based on musical merits. But that's another whole episode that you guys go watch. I think it's like episode 11 or whatever. It's a couple of years ago. So
yeah. I see what you're saying. I mean, look, it's nice for me personally, for you personally. We were there. We witnessed it, and if that is going to be the last time the four guys are on the stage together and we were present for that, that's kind of nice knowing and cool and whatnot. But again, I think it's just even, I think even with that night too, put the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame aside for a second. Again, the guys were obviously not happy with Paul and Gene on how that was handled too. So it kind of, it's a celebrated night, but I just feel like there was just too much bad taste in the mouth between, not being able to, they didn't play, there was no jam at the end. We had to sit through fucking 500 fucking speeches with
but we had a good pretzel.
Yeah, and I had that nice that nice pastrami
sandwich.
The pastrami sandwich. I was belching in your face.
Thanks.
Hey, to my credit, before then you didn't appreciate pastrami, right? We were not on that pastrami.
Whoa, back up. No. That is not a true. I grew up where my mom made pastrami for dinner, like in one of these pots, and it had like.
See, I didn't know this.
Yeah.
And thanks for the invite.
Oh, you never get the invite. So no. I've always had the appreciation for pastrami. That's why when you suggested going there that night, I was like, "Oh yeah, that sounds good." Because I didn't really.
I didn't know that.
No, my wife prefers corned beef over pastrami, right? So I don't necessarily get to go out for pastrami sandwiches ever. So you suggest, I'm like, "Ooh, that sounds good," and then I just kept getting a blowback in my face the entire night. So.
The disgusted look on your face, you waiting, and the speech is going on, and that look, and then me just going like this, and then you'd be like,
no, that was not very kind.
That is not what a good friend does.
No,
to torture somebody. I was just throwing acid in the wound.
Without a doubt.
Hey, listen. We have a funny story to talk about, all these years later, and maybe more of an appreciation for pastrami.
And it's crazy. You're saying all these years later. I think that was 9 years ago.
That's crazy,
right? So think about it. It's been 9 years since the four of them were on stage together. 9 years. I mean, I know Ace was on stage with them in 2018 on the Kiss cruise, right? They performed together, but Peter wasn't there. The original four members have not been together, probably in a room, even since that night at the Hall of Fame. 9 years, over 9 years, right? That was April of 2014, if I got my timeline right. So it's over 9 years. So, no, the last thing I want is if they ever came out and it felt forced and you felt like they really didn't want to be there and all of that. To me, that's not exciting. And that's why I go back to what I said before. I want them to want to do it, not because they feel like they have to for the fan. I wish that if they don't want to do it, then I'm okay with them not doing it. I guess that's the best way for me to summarize it. If they don't want to do it, I'm okay that they don't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
And if they all get excited to do it together for one last time for themselves, and I could be in the building and see it, great. I would love it, but it's not going to change my opinion on the night. That's for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
I agree.
And definitely that night before the show, we are not going out for pastrami. If you say, hey, there's a good pastrami place over here, the answer is no. Okay.
Belches serving the best of best pastrami.
That's right. But I'll be curious to see what other people think about this. And, let us know what you think about, Gene's comment. Do you think that just inviting them was enough? Do you think there should have been a financial offer? Do you think that it's only the older fans that were interested in seeing Ace and Peter up there? What are your thoughts about special guests? I mentioned Joe Perry just because it was the first thing that came to mind. But, what are your thoughts of people like that? Are you attending those last couple of concerts at the Garden? Let us know your thoughts. I'm really curious. I think this one could really run the gamut, so to speak. I think there's going to be a lot of different opinions on this. So I'll be curious to read them. Anything else you want to say before we wrap this bad boy up?
No, I don't think I have anything else I want to promote or
no.
look around. No, just kidding.
All right, buddy. Well, I am glad Gene did this interview because it gave us a good excuse to get together and do one of these again. So
absolutely.
We'll have to, if we don't do another one anytime soon, we'll have to check in before that show, and then certainly we'll be checking in after the show. But no, do not worry, all you viewers out there that always ask, when's the chemist coming back? When the chemist will be back long before that, I'm quite sure.
I hope so.
All right, buddy. Everybody watching, thank you as always. We will end this on Double Ringo.
Double Ringo.
All right, later, everybody. Bye. Later. All righty. There you have it. We look forward to hearing your thoughts and your comments on whether you thought Ace Frehley and Peter Criss should have accepted Gene Simmons' invite to join them on those final shows at Madison Square Garden. There's no right or wrong answers on this, and we look forward to reading and seeing all of your comments. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button below. If you're listening to one of my podcasts, subscribe over there as well. Also, head on over to Facebook and follow my page, The Rock Experience with Mike Brunn, where each and every day we talk about all the rock and roll music that you love. You could also follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well. That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you all next time.